Hi, my name is Chaitanya. I have been providing trainings on Python Fullstack and data science for the last 10 years. And I'm also starting Python Fullstack training for my next batch very soon. So, in this session, I am explaining what is this Python Fullstack and what is this course about and where we are going to use this skill set, what are the different concepts we are going to learn in this course, and why the Python Fullstack, why not other full stack like Java Fullstack and etc. What are the different career options we have with the Python full stack? What are the different job roles you are eligible after learning this course? And what is the course structure, etc., etc. Okay, yeah, let us start. So this is about the trainer, and I am the trainer. My name is Chaitanya, and I am a postgraduate from IIT Roorkee, having 20 years of experience in IT industry. And right now, I am working as a senior data scientist. So far, in the last 10 years, I have been trained almost like more than 3,000 job aspirants. Okay, so this is very brief about me. Okay, and let's go to the session. So, what is this Python full stack and where it is being used? Python full stack subject or maybe skills is being used to build the web applications or websites, anything you can call. When I say website or web application, there are basically two type of websites we have. So I can categorize the websites into two categories. One is a static website and there is a dynamic website. What is a static website? What is a dynamic website? So before going to the what is a static and what is a dynamic, for whether it's a static or dynamic, how the website is going to work, I'll just give you a very high level understanding in a very simple manner. Whenever you hit some URL like www.redbus.in, bookbyshow.com, etc., etc. in the browser, what browser will do? Browser is going to create one request. It is going to create one request object and sends that request object to respective server. Let us say here Redbus server, redbusserver.in. So browser is going to create one request object and sends that request object to Redbus server. What Redbus server will do, once Redbus server receives this request, it understands what is the ask in that request, what they are expecting as part of this request. Server understands that. Server is going to connect to respective database present in the Redbus server, which there are so many tables, columns, and rows, data, so much of information there in the database. Redbus server is going to fetch the respective data and from the respective tables in the database, connect it to the Redbus server, and get the data from the database and prepare a request object or response object. Prepare a response object. In this response object, so Redbus server is going to keep all the data, whatever it is fetched from the database. Not only from the database, any other files also like any PDF files, videos, images, any text files, everything, whatever Redbus want to send as a response to the client. Client means browser here. It keeps everything in the response and sends that response back to client. Client means browser. What browser will see, once browser receives the response object, browser understands what is the content present in the response object and displays that response object in a very nice and clean and beautiful manner in the browser so that a humans can able to easily understand what is the content present in the page on the screen. So this is how the browser and the server are being communicated. So to communicate the server and the client, there is one language is required, some communication language is required, like Telugu, English, and etc. So what is the language is used is that in case of languages in computer science, what we say is protocols. There is some protocol which client and server being used to communicate each other. That protocol is called HTTP or HTTPS. Hypertext Transfer Protocol, Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secured. S stands for secured. If clients wants to send the information to server in a secured manner, then it is recommended to use the HTTPS protocol. If there is no much secret information or sensible information, then HTTP protocol is also sufficient. But of course, nowadays everyone uses secured because It is going to avoid that the information whatever is being communicated between the client and server should be hidden. No one can able to see it. So once server receives the request, server needs to understand the ask in the request. Server needs to connect to database, fetch the respective tables, data from the respective tables, and it is prepared. It has to prepare the response. It has to include every content in the response object, sends the response object to client. For all these actions, server needs the help of one programming language, and that programming language is what we are using here is Python. If we are using a Java program here for all these purposes for the server, then we are going to say it's a Java full stack, Java based web application or Java website. If we are using Python, we can say it's a Python based website or Python based web application, .NET based, Node.js based. So many full stacks are there. Okay, so this is how a simple any web application is going to work. If whenever the browser sends a request to server, server is always sending a fixed response irrespective of the what is the request. For every request there is a fixed response. For request 1, response is for example x1 r. For request 2, response is r something. For every request there is a fixed response, means there is nothing the server needs to extract the data from the database. Well, like the response could be like any simple HTML, simple CSS file, simple image file, simple video, simple PDF. It's a like fixed response. For any request, that is the response, means it's a like kind of a static website. There is nothing the server needs to calculate once the server receives the request. In other case, once server receives the request, based upon the request, server is going to connect to database and finds out which tables the server needs to get the information based upon the request. There are so many tables. There are some hundreds of tables in the database. Server is not going to get the same data every time for every request from the database. Based upon the request, server is obviously going to connect to the database, and it is going to find out from which for this request from which tables we need to gather the information. If a server connects to database, if a server is going to identify which tables we need to identify from the extract the database, so tables or data, and then extract the data from those tables, and then include that data in the response object, sends back the response object to client. So means in this case, for every request, server is going to come to database, and depends upon the request question, server is going to decide, okay, from which tables, which columns, which data we need to extract. It's totally dynamic. Server is going to calculate or figure out which tables the data should be extracted based upon the request. It's a total dynamic identification of the data which should be extracted from the database. So this is websites are called dynamic websites. Means in case of dynamic websites, once the server receives the request, server is dynamically calculating what is the response should be. In case of static websites, there is no dynamic calculation required. Okay, for this request, this is the response is already fixed, and server simply going to send the response. There is no dynamic calculation. What is the response for this request? There is no. All responses for each and every request is predefined. That is called static websites and dynamic websites. Any website that contains the dynamic responses, that websites what we call is a dynamic websites or dynamic web applications, anything you can call. Any server that is sending only the static requests, the serving only static requests, the serving only static responses, that servers or that websites what we call is a static websites. Any server that is sending the dynamic responses means that is a dynamic website. Simple as that. There is no much difference. Okay, but whether it's a static or dynamic, this is how the web application or website is going to work. Sending the response, receiving the response, sending the request, receiving the request from the server, preparing this response by the server, and sending the response back to the client. It's a very simple procedure. Okay, so we just seen what is static, what is dynamic. So when here in this course, we are going to learn about the dynamic web applications, because most of the web applications nowadays in the current IT industry are dynamic only. No application or no project is a static project because there is no need of the static applications right now in the current market. Everyone is going for the dynamic websites only, dynamic web applications only. Okay. So dynamic, when I say dynamic, when it's static or dynamic, so front end is a major component where we are going to how the page looks like. So the content is a very fixed content or dynamic content, whatever it is. The way how beautifully we are going to show that content to the browser, in the browser to the client or to human is very important. If I just show the content in a very zigzag manner, in a random manner, something, then it's very difficult for humans to understand, hey, which content, what is this, or this content is related to which content. I am totally confused about this page. It's very highly important. So we have to show the content to browse in the browser to human in a very neat, beautiful, and nice manner, so that it's easy for users to understand what is the content present on the respective page. So front end is also one of the biggest role. Front end contains the following components. One is HTML, which is going to design for display some basic UI components like text box, buttons, headings, beautiful pages, anything. And that is just a very basic level of the development can be done in the HTML. For that basic things, we can able to add the beautification using the CSS. Example, a simple example. Whenever we are in the home, we are not going to be ready get do a makeup to our hair, face, and etc. to the up to the maximum level. But whenever we are going to the any functions, outside functions like any marriages or any birthdays or any some other functions, and definitely we are going to do some makeup for our faces. We are going to bath clean and arrange so many of ornaments and do a lot of makeup for the faces to make our face very more beautiful and attractive, right? In our home, we don't need to do all these things because it is just a home. But whenever we're going home outside, then yes, definitely we are going to do all these things. This makeup, everything can be done by the CSS. Without CSS, it is a very normal, simple element which doesn't looks like very beautiful and it's very normal and there is nothing special. But when we add to that component a text box or radio button or whatever it is, where the CSS, the button or component will become very, very beautiful. And to provide any action for the button, like for when you click on the button, what should happen? Like actions, some actions, yes, we have to take the help of the JavaScript. And go for React JS if you are going to take some very too much and very extensive actions for every component. Okay. Like React JS is one of the framework which is very, very popular nowadays in the current market. So previously there is a Angular JS which there was there, Angular JS. But nowadays Angular JS was very unpopular and React is almost captured the entire market right now, the UI industry. And this already came up with a lot of built-in actions readily available in this framework. All you need to do is, okay, which action I need and which method I respect to use it. A little bit code is required for it. So React JS is also providing actions to almost all components with already all predefined and very good and readily built-in actions are readily available here. You don't need to write a code for building the action from the scratch onwards. All ready-made actions are readily available for almost all components. So this is all like Bootstrap. These are all components present in the front end. And coming to the back end, so there are two things as I already mentioned: front end, back end, front end and back end. So these are the two major components of the any web application development, web app development, I can say. Front end contains HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, React.js, and back end is going to contain basically three main things: server and database and API. API means the framework, the coding what we are going to write to do all the actions in the Python program. API. So these are the three major important elements of the backend section of the web development. So hardware server is just a hardware. We need some hardware to host our applications and so that server is going to receive the request and sends the response and etc with the help of any programming language. So coming to the database, Database is generally going to use for storing the data. Some tables, and each and every table contains so many of column, each and every table contains so much of data, etc., etc. Basically, there are two type of databases. We have SQL and NoSQL. SQL is the examples of the SQL databases are like Oracle, MySQL, MS SQL, PostgreSQL, etc. So many examples are there. The best examples for the NoSQL is MongoDB, etc. Okay, so MongoDB is very popular out of the NoSQL. So in this course, we are going to discuss about learn about the SQL databases. Since there are multiple softwares are available which are going to support the SQL databases, I am going to take the MySQL software to explain our SQL database concepts because MySQL is a very light software and it's a open source or free software. Means if I want to use the MySQL database for my learning purpose or for my commercial purposes by anything, I don't need to purchase any license for this. If I go for Oracle is a very heavy software and we need to lakhs of amount that they need to spend for purchasing the license of the Oracle, and a lot of things are there. But whether you are using the Oracle or MySQL, the database concepts will never change. It is the same in case of SQL databases. So, since it's a light and free software, I'm going to use the MySQL. Using this software, we are going to discuss about all the basically the database concepts, so like the tables, columns, primary keys, foreign keys, relating one table with other tables, joins, everything we are going to learn. Okay, so this is the database which we are going to use in this course, and using this MySQL software, we are going to learn all the database concepts of the SQL databases. And no SQL databases, we are not going to touch it because in many applications, more than 90% of the applications are using the SQL databases only. That too, either Oracle or MySQL. Okay, so now this is the what as a full stack development contains the following components: front end, back end. Of course, database also included in the back end. If I want to separate it out, yes, database also will become the third part of the component of the full stack development. You go for any full stack like Java full stack, .NET. This is the only three things will be available. Front end will be there, back end will be there, and database will be there. So here we have a lot of full stacks available. Python full stack is available, Java full stack, and .NET full stack, and Marin full stack, Mean full stack, and .NET full stack. So many database full stacks available. So since there are so many full stack available, skills are available, why we are choosing Python? Why not Java full stack? Why not .NET full stack? And why not etc. etc. There is a reason for this, guys. It's not like simply blindly I'm selecting Python full stack, and it's not the reason like yeah, I just know the Python full stack since I am writing this. There is a solid reason for this. Why we are going for a Python full stack, and of course why Python. So here there are some. Once you know the Python, once you learn Python, this is my Python subject. Let us say, if you know the Python, you can able to go for any career option like this. If you want to do the web development, yes, you can go to the web developer by learning some more technologies called front end like HTML, CSS, plus a web frameworks API. API means, for example, Django here. For example, you are going for after learning Python, you want to go for a testing side. Let us say you are not interested in the web development. You are going to for the testing. So there is a one library called PyTest library, which is available on Python. You just need to learn this library and directly go for the automation testing, automation developer. That means he has to write a scripts, Python scripts to develop the testing scripts for testing any application. Data scientist, if you go for after learning Python, if you want to go for the data scientist, yes, of course, you need to learn the basically machine learning concepts, deep learning concepts, and also like libraries called NumPy and Pandas, etc. etc. If you are interested in the data scientist or AI developer, something like that. If you're going for data analyst, yes, you need to learn after learning Python, you need to learn the matplotlib libraries which are going to useful for analyzing the data, and pandas also you need to learn, and also numpy also you need to learn. So like this data engineer, you need to, after learning Python, you need to learn again pandas, and also like PySpark, etc., etc. So means for all these options, job options or career options, the common point is a Python. Without Python, you can't able to do any of these jobs. So it means one programming language, different career options you will be having. Such a vast career options, I am sure you can't able to get with any other programming languages like Java. Maximum Java, what you can do is web development and games and maybe mobile apps. That's it. And once the Python is entered, no one is writing the Java programs to for the automation develop automation testing scripts. Nowadays, everyone is migrating their scripts from Java to Python because it's a Python is very easy to use and easy to write also, and very efficient and fast when compared to Java. That is the reason why the Python is the number one programming language right now in the current market. You go and check in the Google what is the best programming language, Java or Python. Definitely, majority people says Python. Of course, still there are some couple of people still say Java because they are the Java lovers. I can't do anything actually with them. I am not a Python lover, so it's a common for me both Java and Python. I'm seeing them equally. But when seeing the advantages of the Java and Python, I see Python is having more advantages. Tomorrow, if I switch my career from web development to, let us say, data scientist, yes, I can able to say already since I know Python, I know already Python. All I need to learn is NumPy for libraries and machine learning, deep learning. It's easy for me to switch because I don't need to start again a new programming language to learn. Since Python is having a lot of career options, so that's why Python full stack is very popular when compared to other programming languages also. This is one of the reasons. There are so many other reasons why Python full stack, because Python is very easy to learn and quick to write and very efficient to work and etc. Okay, so this is there are many reasons why Python full stack. So we choose Python full stack here for web application development. So in this course, we have like in the full stack, we have three modules, I can say, high level segregating. First, complete Python, core Python, where we are going to starting with the basics of the Python to the deep level of the Python of every concept in Python. Every concept, the basic concepts and advanced concepts, every concept we are going to learn from the scratch to very deep level. Having the half knowledge or having the intermediate knowledge is not at all sufficient for you to get the jobs. If you want to learn a subject, learn the deep. Otherwise, you don't learn it. Just don't waste your time. And that is the module one. Second module is Django. Django, that is one of the framework that is available built on the type of built on Python programming language, which is available for building the websites or web applications. Of course, there are some different other frameworks also available like Flask, Fast API. Some different frameworks are available, which are also built on the Python only for helpful for building the web applications only. But we choose Django because Django is a very vast web framework developed on Python, which is contains almost all the options whatever we need for website development. Every option whatever you have or you need, that option is available in that readily available. You don't need to develop it again. That option is readily available. The already development is already done. Just component is readily available. All you need to use is all you need to do is just use it. Just use it. That's it. But Flask is not such a like having all the options. Flask is having a good options which is suitable for okay, medium level websites. If your website is very small, like having just only 3 features, 4 features, a small website, then go for the Fast API. The concepts, whether you go for Django, Flask, or Fast API, the concepts of the framework is the same. It will never change, but all the options, whatever you choose, you need for website development, all options is available in the Django. But not 100% options are available in Flask. Not majority options are not available. Very small required and quick required options are available in the Fast API. So that's why if you know the Django, then it's very easy for you to learn the Flask and Fast API because it's a subset of that Django. That's it. That is the reason why interviewers also expecting you to learn the Django before coming to the interview because they want to test you in the Django only. If you say, hey, if they ask you, okay, what frameworks you know, Django, Flask, and Fast API, if you say Django, they are very happy to hear that because if you know the Django, it doesn't matter for you to learn the Flask and Fast API whenever it is required because they are the subsets. They are subsets of the Django. But if you know the just a Flask, then if you want to learn Django, you have to learn extra, which is a superset actually. So that's why we are going to choosing the Django in our course, which is a very vast and standard framework for available. All options are available in this framework. And if you want to build any huge and very complex websites or web applications, Django is the only preferable, only the choice. Of course, nowadays in almost all projects, every application is a very complex and huge only. So obviously, Django is a preferable. And after the Django, there is one more is called REST API. REST API, we can say. This REST API is built on Python programming language on the top of the Django. On the top of the Django, REST API is used. In your front end, if you are using the React JS pages, then you have to use the REST framework. So that's why we have to learn the Django. That is itself is a very vast and standard. On the top of it, we are going to advance a topic also like REST API also we are going to learn because who knows, like in our applications, who decides maybe applications is going to use the React pages rather than normal HTML, simple HTML pages. If it is a normal simple HTML pages, Django itself is more than sufficient. There is no REST is required. But if you are going to use the React pages in your front end, then we have to use the REST framework at some places. So you need to learn the REST API also here. Apart from the REST API, we have to learn the database concepts also. Anyway, I already explained. MySQL, we are going to use it to learn all the database concepts, tables, primary keys, foreign keys, etc., etc. And front end also one more module we are going to learn, which contains the HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, React.js. So these are the modules in my Python full stack course, and these are the eligible roles. These are the eligible the job roles once you learn this course. You can applicable for the front end developers where only you are going to develop the front end components called HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, React.js. A full stack developer, that is also one more good role or maybe hot running role right now in the current market where you can able to utilize your backend skills, Python skills, database skills, and UI skills and framework skills, everything. A web developer and a backend developer, just a Python and Django and etc. etc. So Python, so this is only Python developer. So only you're writing a Python code. System administrator like system programming jobs also you are eligible. Of course, mobile and app developers where the backend is important. Where if the backend is Python they are using, yes, you still going to learn you can able to apply for these jobs also. There are some different jobs by learning a single course. You are eligible for different job roles. Of course, out of this is very top most popular role because companies are also expecting the Python full stack developers because one developer can able to do the development on Python, REST APIs, the Django frameworks, and also UI components and etc. etc. Okay, so now in this course we are going to provide 3 mini projects on the core Python and 3 minutes for our projects on the Django, and one complete real-time major project on the Python. Total entire one big application we are going to provide you. So if you do this major project at the end of the course, means what it means is if a person who joins a company and works on a one project for the 3 years, how much experience this guy is going to gain? That experience you are going to gain from this project. Provided if you do this project, there is a fantastic learning skills hidden in this project development. This is not like a dummy project and something, okay, we have developed it, okay, and you just redo it the same thing. This is one of the project which we designed with our own thoughts, which is resembling the real time experience. So I suggest everyone go to the course, complete the course, and you have to complete this real time project. And of course, our team, me, and we are going to provide you the complete help in order for you to complete this project. If you stuck up anywhere, yes, you raise the question, and we are going to suggest you, okay, what is the mistake you did it, and where you stuck up, and how to resolve that point, so that you keep on learning this excellent knowledge and excellent real time experience from this major project. The purpose of these mini projects are you are going to get very super duper good hands on the entire like Python, Django, REST APIs, front end and back ends and etc. Apart from these mini projects, like we are also providing on from the third week onwards on every Saturday, you will be attempting to write one weekly test. So weekly test purpose is to just examine what you learned on the specific topic. Every topic wise, we have one weekly test. So on every Saturday, it's by default from the third week onwards. So weekly tests are different, mini projects are different, major projects are different. So major projects, once you perform the weekly test, means you are confident on that particular subject or concept, then definitely you can able to attempt the mini projects. If you are attempting the mini projects properly or learning the good of amount of knowledge from these mini projects, and of course you can able to definitely you can able to complete the major project also. If you complete the major project, that is my guarantee that you are going to get the 3 years of work experience. Whatever is the work experience, the subject you are going to gain from this 3 years of work experience, the same knowledge you are going to gain from this major project also. That is the specialty of this real time project. This is very important for you to complete this major project at the end of the course. Okay, so now this is the course structure. Core, like all classes are live classes, and every class will be recorded, and the class will be provided, the recording will be provided to you in the Google Drive. There is one Google Drive I am going to maintain for each and every course. And once the class is completed, the immediate after the class, the recording will be shared to you on Google Drive. You can see the watch the recording n number of times, however, whenever you want it. If you have any doubt on any subject or any concept on any class, go to the respective recording and watch it and clear your doubts. If you still have doubts, feel free to ask the doubts, etc. Weekly test, I already mentioned, on every third week onwards, we have a weekly test that will be conducted. You need to attempt the weekly test. Assign there are a lot of assignments on every subject, every small concept wise. So these assignments are going to be very small programs, like one line programs, two lines programs, to just to test yourself where I am. Am I understanding the subject properly? If you are going to complete these assignments on very small assignments, like a two-line program, three-line program, four-line program, etc., thus your concept is very clear. We are also going to provide the mock interview, frequently asked questions or mock interview questions. Real time also for projects also we are providing. Mini projects also we are providing on the subject wise. Okay, and yeah, that's all about the Python full stack course. And if you have any questions, feel free to send information or WhatsApp on this call on this number or message on this WhatsApp number. And also, if you want, you can able to mail us on this Gmail python.trainer.helper. And if you want to register for this course, just register on this. Go to the website Python www.mypythontrainer.com and go to the see the courses. What are the different courses available? And check what is the time, the start demo date and start date and duration of the course and the class timings. Everything is provided available in this website. Go to the website and explore the courses and register for the course whatever you want to learn it. Okay. Yeah, that's all from my side. Okay. Thank you very much.